So the Fed came out rather hawkish yesterday with a 25 basis point rate hike, and the post-meeting was hawkish, but can the Arbitrum airdrop, one of the most anticipated and biggest airdrops of 2023, save the crypto market? Well, you can see over here, if you have a look at the crypto bubbles chart, of course, most coins are still red on the day. A couple of them are starting to pop. Hex is also popping because of the imminent PulseChain launch, so we'll cover a little bit of that. And then if you look at the hourly over here, most of them are starting to rebound. So if we have a look at what happened yesterday, you can see basically we also had the UK's CPI year-on-year data that came out, and that was an uptick over there from 9.9%, which was expected. It came in at 10.4%, showing that inflation in Europe and the UK is sticky. And then if you go on to the US, you got the Fed funds rate sitting still at 5%, which was expected, but the Fed were pretty hawkish on their stance, basically saying higher for longer. There's a whole lot of things that happen overnight within the US, so we're going to cover that. We need to get through everything. I just want to give you some takeaways over here. So TED Talks macro takeaways from this Fed meeting. He says over here that inflation remains enemy number one. That is at least what 𝗕𝗏𝗄𝗍𝗍 said, which is what we can expect, right? Same as always, he just keeps reiterating the same message, and he's not deviating away from his plan by any means. So the Fed is committed to those higher rates, and more increases are likely. They basically said there will be no pivots this year. They're going to be increasing the whole year. So Fed baseline is for no rate cuts in 2023. Banking stress is the equivalent of a rate hike, and Powell is the GOAT of press conferences because he handled the conference really well. Every question that the interviewers or the journalists threw at him, he was able to basically withhold that without pumping the markets or crashing the markets, so holding things pretty neutral. And then he says that we need to wait for the next bank to blow up before we can get excited again, basically suggesting that the Fed doesn't really care about all the banks that have been blowing up. He says that they didn't control their risk. I listened to the whole spaces basically where they were broadcasting his interviews, and his attitude towards the banks is that, you know, it's their fault. They took on too much risk, which we know is not necessarily exactly the truth here. So the 𝗕𝗶𝗍𝗍 letter over here says that we just had a collapse of the regional banking system and Credit Suisse acquired for pennies on the dollar. Meanwhile, the Fed raised rates. The Fed said more rate hikes can come. And Yellen said the FDIC backing on all deposits is not likely, which is another revelation over here. So they're not necessarily going to insure all the banks that have gone down. And this is not the way to restore confidence, which I tend to agree with entirely over here. So very, very interesting where the markets are. And then Jim commented on this as well. He said, if the banks are sound and resilient and the situation is stabilizing, please tell bank stock investors. After Yellen's headline that they are not considering expanding the FDIC insurance cap, bank stocks tanked and are just a few basis points away from the low off of this entire crisis. But with all of this being said, crypto is holding up pretty well, and crypto seems to be getting attacked left, right, and center. And you can see it over here from the Bitcoin archive. So this is recent. This just came out. You have reports of a squeeze by banks on sending money to exchanges. And then he says, anyone have any recent experience? So this guy commented over here. This is a message that they got from Binance within the UK. So notice of upcoming suspension of GBP deposits and withdrawals via bank transfer and card. So basically that operation choke point is in full force over here, and it's a pretty scary situation, if I can say so myself. You can see that they are trying to stifle crypto as much as possible, and they're blocking off all exchanges, all major exchanges especially. And here you have another one, and there it continues. So hi Jason, we'd like to inform you that as of March the 27th, 2023, which is coming up in a couple of days, Kraken will be unable to support ACH deposits and withdrawals. Our team is working to make ACH funding available again as soon as possible. Let me know in the comments, are you affected by this? Have you received any of these notices? Because I know a lot of the viewers are obviously in the US as well as in Europe and the UK. So let me know in the comments, have you been affected by this? Have you received any notices like this? I think that this is pretty scary, right? Operation choke point. This could be one of the biggest threats that crypto has faced in a long time, but yet the price is still holding up, which is at least one good thing. So Coinbase has also been attacked. Here it says Coinbase Global says it got a Wells notice from the SEC staff. And if you look into that over here, Coinbase sums everything up in just one sentence. We asked the SEC specifically to identify which assets on our platform they believe may be securities, and they declined to do so. And now they want to go to court. They want to discuss it in court after they already asked them many times what they're doing wrong. So they need guidance, right? They need regulatory guidance so that they can play according to the rules and continue to operate a successful business. So this is kind of where we're at. And then there's more. If you look over here from Unusual Whales, just in, the SEC has charged 8 celebrities regarding illegally touting. So TRX and BTT without disclosing that they're being paid. The celebrities are Lindsay Lohan, Jake Paul, Soulja Boy, Austin, Kendra, Lil Yachty, Akon, and Neo. So there we have it. These guys are also, it's SEC on a rampage over here. They're definitely looking to make a statement. And if you're in the US, it's a pretty scary place for crypto. I mean, look, I can't necessarily provide adequate advice around this other than maybe moving to those states that are more friendly, like Florida, Texas. Consider using NordVPN or any other VPN for that matter. That's the only thing that I can really suggest. I don't know what else you're going to do over there. But cutting off the inflows and outflows to the exchanges, that's a big problem right now. You're going to have to rely on peer-to-peer exchanges within your crypto and use things like localbitcoins.com. I know that was big in 2017, 2018. I don't know if they're still operating. So yeah, it's a problem. It's a problem. And 𝗿𝗆𝗄𝗍 says over here, because he's commenting to 𝗕𝗆𝗕𝗏 based on all of this, they're going to attempt to limit or block the exit ramps to Bitcoin exchanges as the banking system gets run. It's starting. 𝗿𝗆𝗍 says over here, they will eventually try to seize Bitcoin and eventually maybe soon. So buy Bitcoin, get your coins off of exchanges and get to a Bitcoin friendly jurisdiction. States like what I just said, Florida, Texas in the US, or El Salvador and the 𝗬𝗍𝗄𝗎 abroad. So I don't know what's going to happen in my country, but so far it's not looking like there's many places that are looking good. It seems like the authorities are all after crypto. And usually what happens is the US kind of sets the precedent and the other countries follow suit. So it is scary times indeed. And here he says, if you want to look at this from a point of context, physical gold was defeated by the state with executive order 6102, but we've been running history in reverse with the opposite outcome. So it is possible that they try again, but this time digital gold wins. Bitcoin hasn't been defeated. And I am definitely a long-term raging Bitcoin bull. I understand that there are risks involved, right? And ultimately the powers that be, they're very smart. They've played these games for hundreds of years, if not thousands of years. And if they try and find a way to crush crypto, it is possible. But for the first time ever, you actually have something that's unconfiscatable, right? You have your seed phrases, 12 to 24 words. And essentially, that's all that you need. That is the ticket to independence, basically. You have your ticket to victory over there because they can't physically take that off of you. It's an incredibly difficult task to do, but it's an interesting time that we're entering into. So nevertheless, when you look at the Bitcoin price, though, in the face of all of this adversity, when you consider what's happened with the banks, when you consider what's happening with the SEC going after crypto, and then when you consider the constant rising interest rates paired with extremely under pressure stock market, then crypto is, I would say, doing pretty damn well with a price point sitting right now at $27,727. So it is still looking good. Here we have the 4-day chart with our moving averages. I told you yesterday, watch for if there is a spike down. I'll show you on the low time frames that could have presented a potential opportunity to get into the market. But structurally, there might be 1 or 2 shifts that are taking place within the market. And we'll need to see what happens with the airdrop, right? Remember with Blur, when Blur launched, pretty much prices started to rally aggressively based off of that. It's our own little liquidity injection into crypto when you have these big airdrops. And maybe the same thing will happen with Arbitrum. Arbitrum was one of the most anticipated, I would say one of the biggest airdrops in crypto, not even for 2023, but just in general. And maybe that will provide enough liquidity to get the ball rolling and to hold these prices up. But High time frame investors, this chart is telling you that any pullbacks from here are essentially opportunities because you do have a positive posturing of all those different MAs. You got the yellow above the green, above the purple, all angled upwards. And that's a keyword. You need them to be angled upwards, right? Momentum is unstoppable, right? When you start to develop strong momentum, it creates that snowball effect where the momentum gets bigger and bigger. And then prices trend higher. So there is a possibility that you see something like that over here, as long as this posture can be held and maintained at least sideways and slowly up for some time. Now, let's see the S&P 500. Yesterday, the S&P 500, or at least on the last candle, let me move on to the daily so we can get some more evidence over here. You had a lot of demand that was kicking in, and the S&P 500 was looking really, really good. It came directly into that 0.75 level, 0.75, so 75% of the way through that range. Let's just quickly highlight that for you in case you can't see it. So there it is, right? Remember, everything is still range bound, and it's interesting the way these levels work. Look at that. You failed to close a daily candle above that range, above the 75% of the way through the range, which is this level over here. Then the next day pushed up again, failed to close that level. It then pushed back down, and that's kind of where we are. So we're stuck between the 0.75 and the 0.5 level of the range. Price wise, that's between 39.14, so 3,914, and a level of 4,035. So the S&P 500 is within this range. You don't necessarily need to focus on the broader range, this whole range over here. You can now mainly zoom in and just focus between the 0.75 and the 0.5 level, because look at how many days we've been in here. We've been here since the 21st of February, so it's pretty much an entire month stuck within this range. What that basically means for you is that when you look at this, once you start to convincingly break either out the top side of the range or the bottom side of the range, you'll have a better indication of where the next direction will be, or the next directional trade, not just for crypto, but for the stock market as well. So if you want a seamless way to trade the stock market, one way that I do it is on Prime XBT. I use these guys, these copy traders. I'm not really one for copy trading. Obviously, I know how to trade, and I just like to use it to kind of diversify. So I'm up 23% so far on these trades over here, and that is $242 on like a $1,000 or $2,000 account. So it's not too bad if you just leave it running. Remember, I told you guys I'd experiment with this for a few months so we can kind of back test the whole thing and see how it works, so you don't have to wreck your own account. If you do want a link to that, then Prime XBT is in the description below over here, and you'll get access to, there you go. You'll get access to up to $7,000 in sign-up bonuses, but you must type in the promo code Kyledoops. All right, they trade things like currencies as well. And if you look at the 𝗕𝗘𝗧 over here has started to lose key levels. I've now zoomed out and gone into the weekly chart just to give you a little bit of perspective of what we're talking about. This is a key level though. Can you see that? This whole level is a major support from years and years back. It's been a key level for a long time, and this will be an interesting zone to see what happens with the dollar. So let me zoom in a little bit closer to give you more precise zones and levels over here. Okay, zooming in, we lost the key yearly level. What happened over here is it was just a liquidity grab, right? Oftentimes this is the way that price works. It's liquidity to liquidity. So there's the liquidity, and there's the liquidity. What happened over here? Price came up and it captured that liquidity. So took that. Now you'll be watching for the liquidity on the lower end. So if the dollar continues to squeeze down into this zone around that 107, I'm still thinking that there could potentially be a little bit more upside, possibly on Bitcoin. We need to see how things pan out for the rest of this week and what the weekly close looks like. If the dollar continues to squeeze into this 100 level, so 100.7, and Bitcoin pushes up to around that 30 to 32K level, that is definitely a profit-taking zone for me. I'll be loading off some of my Bitcoin, expecting that the dollar, although things look dismal in the US, I do think that there will still be at least a relief rally or a small bounce from that. That's going to put pressure onto crypto and the stock market, and therefore you can re-add lower, looking for the pullback, right? So the Bitcoin dominance, we were focused on this yesterday as well. We said that very, very soon altcoins could begin to rally, and we're still waiting for a little bit more of a push higher. We also looked at the ETH BTC chart showing that it is at a key level, and we're waiting to see if there is going to be a reaction from that zone. Let me quickly see if I can pull that chart up for you. ETH BTC, where is my ETH BTC chart? Okay, let me just do another one over here. So let's pull up ETH BTC. So we're looking at ETH BTC with a very simple trend line over here, just coming from this side into that level. We want to see, is this level going to hold? If ETH BTC manages to bounce off of this zone, great. If it doesn't, then its next target is going to come down to here. It's going to come down into that level, which is 0.04 to 0.05. If it holds this and it bounces, you can imagine that obviously altcoins are going to do well. Let's see what happens with the Arbitrum Airdrop today. I think that's also going to be interesting. But from a technical analysis standpoint, it's pretty simple and clear to see, right? Bitcoin is coming into resistance over here, and so far it's looking like it's rejecting from that zone. I want to see it hold and consolidate for just a little bit longer over here, because I think that this parabolic run could have one more spike. And why do I say that? Well, if you have a look over here, okay, these things usually happen in waves of 3. So this would be wave 1, big push up, consolidate, consolidate, big push up. That's second wave, consolidate. If it keeps consolidating, looking for potentially one more spike, and then you can set the local top. We haven't confirmed a local top yet. We need to wait for a confirmed local top. As soon as we have a confirmed local top, whether that happens from this level or from higher up around that 32K level, we'll be able to identify the exact buy the dip levels which are coming up. But for the time being, you're playing at level to level, right? So you were long from here to here. Now you're just waiting. The next long is going to be, let's quickly put in a trend line for you over here. The next long is going to be to this level. If it gets above, then you're pretty much again playing level to level, hold above here, and then you long to that zone. If not, you reject here, you short back down to 25K. Okay, I hope that helps. Pretty simple, pretty clear. But one thing that you need to be concerned of, or at least cautious of, not concerned, I would say cautious based on what's happening within the US. Let me put this on a higher time frame chart to just give you a better perspective of what I'm talking about. So let's look at this chart over here. So you're looking at the chart, right? This was always inevitable that we were going to test this level. This is one reason why I had conviction on 28K as the target. This level is a bearish underside retest. So it was always a possibility that you would get that bearish retest. The next question is what happens next. So we always want to consider both the bull's case as well as the bear's case. So from the bearish case, they would be looking for a push into the zone, a deviation and rejection down. And then you need to be very, very careful that you don't see a slow bleed all the way down like this and then reaccumulate at a later stage. Every cycle, if you look at every cycle, Fred's got a sticky note on his head. I don't know what's going on over here, guys. He's a very strange guy sometimes. Okay, if you have a look at this, guys, so what you'll be looking for, if you look at the previous cycles, and I can go back. Let's go back. So we'll look at this one. Oftentimes before the halving event, right, you do get a big move up. So a lot of people would think, okay, like obviously this looks like a bottom. It is a bottom. And you do get a big run up, but it's not straight to all-time highs. After that happens, then you do trend back down again. Yes, this was COVID, but nevertheless, this whole section over here, you were in a strong downtrend once again. So you want to be careful that that doesn't happen. And if you look at the next chart that I'm about to show you, we have outlined this many, many, many times before, and it's this one over here. We need to be sure that we're not within this area over here, which is why you need to always consider both sides. Even if you're bullish and you're holding longs now, you always want to think, how's the market going to take my money away from me? The market plans on taking my money away. How is it going to do it this time? Be careful, be careful, be careful. So be careful that you're not going into still a depression phase. I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm just cognizant that once you reach a key level, so which we've reached a key level, right? Here's the key level. This is a key level. Now you need to be careful. Now you need to reevaluate and ask yourself what happens next. I'm still in my long positions, by the way. I haven't closed them out. I'll have to make a decision probably today, I think today or tomorrow. I'm going to need to make a decision on what I do next. As always, I will always update you. I will never, ever leave you guys behind What you need to do though is you need to follow me on Twitter. Go through to my Twitter account, because sometimes I can't get a stream up in time and I'm seeing something in the charts and I'm like, hey, I need to get out of the position. And all you need to do is follow me at Kyledoops. Make sure it's the right one. I think there is a link in the description below. And if you go back, for example, I said over here, look, I've taken profits on my aggressive DCA portfolio. So I didn't do that live on the show, but I updated you over there. The same way that I bought at 19,700, I think I also updated you with that over here. Let's see. Here you go. On the 11th of March, call me crazy, but I'm pretty long on Bitcoin right now. Invalidation is below the 200-day moving average. And then just before that, I said I'm converting all my USDC. Where is it? Let's see. I said I'm converting all my USDC into Bitcoin. Let's see. It was somewhere here. There. I just sold all my USDC for Bitcoin on the 11th of March. I was at 19,700. So please follow me on Twitter. I don't want you to get caught off guard. You can't rely purely on the shows if I have to make an immediate decision. I'm always fully transparent with what I'm doing. Okay. Now, one of the reasons that I could potentially start to scale out is, I know that it sounds ridiculous. It's not the only thing that I use, but we do officially have the bear moon. So the bear moon has printed. Yesterday, I gave you this as a level to watch, a buy the dip level, which I put a question mark. You can go back on yesterday's show. And there it was. Price came down. I told you, watch that 9 exponential moving average, the 9-day exponential moving average. Price didn't tag it exact. It was like less than $1 away. And there we've started to move up aggressively. So had you traded that strategy, you would now be up about 4% on your Bitcoin alone, which is not too bad. Now, I will be watching closely the RSI over here. Let's just quickly get the levels. The RSI will turn down if Bitcoin price closes daily candle below 27,320. So that's kind of one of my levels, 27,320. Let's quickly put it there. Just a little bit more. 27,320. There we go. Okay, I'm still laughing about Fred walking here with a sticky note on his head. Like, if only you guys knew what it was like to be in these studios and these offices at Banter. All right, next, let's move on over there. Okay, look, what about if we do lose this level? Okay, if we do lose this level, your next zone, 25,400. You lose 25,400, you're probably coming all the way back down to these moving averages. Then you've fully round-tripped your gains, right? Which, I mean, you probably don't want to do that. It's not the end of the world. But if you have extra money, you'd want to add it over here. If you're able to get out and you're following me on Twitter and I tell you I'm exiting, then obviously we're going to close out that position there and we're going to re-add it between here and here. So between about 20,000 and 22,000. That's what we're watching. Next, let us move on. Okay, I think we're streaming in like 2K or 4K. So also turn up your definition over there. Smash the like buttons, guys, as well. Please smash the like button. I would really, really appreciate it. It really helps to get the video out there. You'll be surprised. Okay, assuming this is a local top. Now, that's why we need to confirm a local top. Assuming it's a local top, you can put on your fib retracement levels over here. And what that would be telling you, so if prices start to create a lower high over here, that would be my signal. Probably time to start to get out. So you see a rejection like that. I'm going to exit my position because what do you have over there? Well, you have what looks like a local high. Then you have a lower low, you broke the structure. You would then be forming the next lower high. And remember, I'm a trend trader. I like to stick with the trend. That's how I do so well. That's how I make money. And you would be expecting a lower low, right? And then what are the levels you're going to be watching? If you are in a strong trending move, your next zone is always going to be the 0.382. What my friend 𝗕𝗏𝗄𝗏 labels the shallow fib is what he calls it. His whole strategy works on fib trading. And in a strong trending move, you're looking to capitalize on that shallow fib, which is pretty much the previous range high. I'm going to zoom out to show you what that looks like now, but that's 25,200. So you can see the way that that level comes into play. Let's delete this and then, quickly get this over here. Delete that and clean this up for you to see nicely on a daily chart. There we have it. Okay, so you can see the range, right? Is that clear? Let me know in the comments. Is that clear? So you're looking to capitalize that. Lose that though, and that's the deviation confirmed, right? Now things get very bearish. Time to get out completely, because now it's a possibility that you're going to slam all the way back down, and then that whole depression phase could potentially play out. So that's what I'm watching over there. Not too much different from yesterday. On the lower time frames, we have the 4-hour chart. I'm using the 50 and 200 exponential moving average. You can see the perfect bounce off of that. Again, I would say as long as this continues to hold, there is a possibility that pressure continues to the upside and that we could target that 30 to 32K level. If that gets lost, then you're looking at the 200 exponential as your next target. Assuming it's obviously going to continue trending up depending on when it hits. You can imagine that's trending up where? Towards the range high at about that 25,200 level. So there's a lot of demand that's going to kick in around that 25,200 level. And structurally, that would be an important zone to get hit. Now, you got two whales that trade. One is good and the other is just shocking. He gets liquidated almost all the time. So the GMX whale is pretty good. You can see his things on the GMX platform. His liquidation price, because he's in a long, is at 25,400. So what did I just tell you? 25.2 is the range high support where you would expect price to bounce. Now, what this guy might do is add extra long or extra margin to his long position, therefore bringing his liquidation price down. So if it gets to 25.2, he won't be liquidated. Sato is in a short. He's this Asian YouTuber that trades with millions of dollars. I still am not sure if it's real money or not, but his liquidation level is at 29,000. And every time I look, he gets liquidated. So which comes first? What are you guys going to do? Let me know in the comments. Are you betting on 25.4 first, or are you betting on 29? One of these guys are going to get liquidated. So next, spot. What is going on the spot trades over here? Currently still looking healthy. This is a spot-driven market. Remember, with Operation Choke Point though, they are stifling basically all the on-ramps and off-ramps. There is no inflow necessarily. Well, there is some inflow of new funds, but not much additional stablecoins being added into the market, which means that this is kind of like an eco rally, an eco bubble, where we within our own little echo chamber where people are deploying their assets that they've been in the market for a long time, and they're deploying their stables. But so far it is spot driven. Hopefully there's a way for others to get in because we do require additional market participants like any market for the economy to continue to grow. The futures traders are kind of null and void. They're not doing too much. There's not much demand, at least on the leverage side, which is pretty interesting. Okay, next, the Arbitrum Airdrop. Big airdrop, which is happening later on today. If you look over here, and you're planning to trade the Arbitrum Airdrop, these guys built a page optimized for it. So you can basically look at pre-approved contracts. You can claim your arbs directly over there. You can swap through the Llama zip for 10 times cheaper gas fees, so low gas fees. And then they have a DJ mode button, which will allow you to sell all of your airdrops in 1 second. You just hit the button once. So what does that look like? You need to go through to DeFiLlama.com/arb. Go through to this guy's page over there. Maybe I'll retweet it. I'll just retweet it for you. And there you go. Useful for the DGens. There you go. Useful for the DGens. And there we go. That will be sent through to my Twitter. If you need it, go through there. This is what it looks like. You connect your wallet, which is where your airdrops are coming to. And if you want to liquidate in one go, you know what to do. Pretty much, you just click that step 2, sell all ARB tokens, DGen mode. Now, how's this thing going to play out? Well, one way that you can look at it is ahead of Arbitrum tomorrow. This is from Binance. The recent Binance listing says basically they've had 25 this year. They have tended to bottom a few days after the launch before rallying more than 50% into the second week. So visually, what does this look like? It looks like this. This is from, again, one of our researchers, Joe. This is usually what these airdrops look like, right? Remember, big initial pump. You don't want to buy into that pump. You want to wait for the reversal. When things start to sell off and reverse, remember my golden rule. You're looking for a minimum from once the top is set, a minimum drawdown of 50% before you even consider entering. My suggestion then is if you look at the timing wise of how long pretty much it holds sideways for, that's from the 2nd of June till the 13th of July. So once the bottom is set, you're going from about the 13th of June to the 13th of July. It gives you a month in which you can accumulate. My point is, if you were deciding to enter $10,000 just for argument's sake into the Arbitrum token, my suggestion, wait for 50% drawdown. As soon as that 50% drawdown takes place, take the $10,000 and say to yourself, I'm giving myself 1 month to enter into these positions, and you divide that $10,000 up and your dollar cost average every single day for 1 month until all $10,000 are entered into the market. That will give you a beautiful and gradual entry, meaning you bought the majority at the bottom, at or near the bottom, and therefore you can look for a big spike up afterwards. So that's one easy way to do it. Let me know in the comments, is that useful? That's the way that I do it. It's worked every single time. And basically that's what I plan on doing later today. Other big airdrops. Okay, upcoming is going to be PulseChain. This is huge. Richard Hart said that testnet v3 is here. Please use it and prepare for the mainnet launch. Warning, this is the final testnet and mainnet may launch at any time now. Now, it's of my belief as well that Richard Hart is a very, very smart person. He is one of the most intelligent, if not the most intelligent guys in crypto. I know that might catch a bit of flack over here and that there might be a bit of hate around that, but hear me out. I think that PulseChain's been ready for a long time, a very, very long time. I think that he knows that it's not a smart idea to launch a brand new token into a tanking market. And this is one thing that also makes me sit and think, maybe the bottom really is in. Because he obviously has an extremely intelligent team around him, and I don't know what sort of people he uses to advise him, but he's smart. He knows exactly what he's doing, and the reason why he's taunting at the launch of PulseChain now all of a sudden is because the market is showing signs of strength and there's a real possibility that a bottom could potentially be in within the market, and he's going to launch near the bottom. Why is he going to do that? Obviously, if you launch while the market is tanking, as soon as people receive the funds, they're still in that fearful mindset and they're going to liquidate all positions immediately, tanking the price and basically ending the project before it even got started. That's what's happened with most projects that get launched into a bear market. But if you can launch it near the bottom of the bear market, you don't need to nail it exact. But if you launch it near the bottom, you can imagine that's going to create upside pressure. People have interest. They've been waiting for a long time to get back into the market, and the timing is just perfect. So here it is. If you did qualify, if you sacrificed and you're going to get the airdrop, all you need to do is go onto your MetaMask, connect your MetaMask, create a new network, so testnet v3, and you can interact with those tokens over there. So you can play around. There's many different ways that you can stake it, and you can do all sorts of things to earn additional PulseChain or PulseX tokens in the future. Okay, another thing that suggests to me that the tides are turning is the Grayscale premium. So the premium continues to turn up. As you can see over here, denoted by the purple, we went from an all-time low, I think this was the all-time low, of 48.5%, and currently the premium is now sitting at negative 36%. So it's a big, big uptick. This means institutions would rather buy a premium that's, or at least a discount that's slowly moving towards the premium side, as opposed to buying Bitcoin, right? If the Grayscale trust is going to be fine, which it seems like it is, then why would you buy Bitcoin if you're an institution, the spot asset, when you could just buy the GBTC basically trust over here? So that's looking good. That's looking fine over there. Liquidation levels. You can see based off of this small sell-off, there was a big spike in long liquidations, but yeah, nothing out of the ordinary, just a small spike. So some guys obviously got taken out that were highly leveraged. And I think that's about it. I've mentioned just about everything. There is one more thing that's huge. We have the OKX competition, which means you can win a Tesla, which is a pretty big deal over here. Feel free to click on the link in the description below under OKX. You'll see there is a link. It will take you through to this page. And the way the competition works is each trade that you take is an entry into the competition. You'll need to sign up, use my referral link below, make a deposit, and then claim your sign-up bonus from the mystery box. You download the app on your phone, shake it, you get a little bonus over there. And then this is how it works. So there's weekly draws. Okay. Your reward in USDT value. So this is about 1,250. You get an Apple iPhone 14 Pro. Then the next week, you get an Apple MacBook Pro valued at $2,500. Then the next week, you get 2 Manchester City Football Club tickets, which you'll be going with Crypto Banter team. That's valued at $5,000. Week 5 and 6, you get a 7-night holiday to the Maldives, where you can take your significant other or your friend, and that's valued at 7.5. And then the big prize is week 7. It's a Tesla Model 3. Amazing. Tesla Model 3. I don't know. We can't get that in South Africa. We don't have electricity to charge the thing, but that is valued at $50,000. So make sure you go through below, click the link, sign up, and also make sure you give the video a like, hit the bell notification, and subscribe to the channel. That's it from me, guys. I appreciate each and every one of you. Have an absolutely stellar day and be safe out there. Trade well. See you on the next one, and cheers for now.